Alright, I got the stock intake manifold off. I got these adapter plates, which I'm going to use as spacers, so it's not resting on these. And here's a lower intake manifold. Had to shave this down because it had some weird like pattern on it, so I just smoothed it out. All 8 of them. And this is a plate it's going to sit on. Got to cut it out, cut the shape out. Was going to use like a CNC or something, but that's going to take too long. So I'm going to just use an angle grinder from Walmart. And yeah, that's going to do the trick. And then I got to line everything up, tap some holes in this, and then cut another hole for where the air goes through. Kind of to match this one, I'm going to trim the excess off of this plate. And it'll have a hole like that in the middle. And that will be sandwiched in the middle to keep it cool. Still got to get a pump for this and a heat exchanger for in the front. But we're just going to mock it up. And then lastly, move the power steering reservoir out of the way. And probably make some bracket to add a tensioner or an idler or another pulley just to get some more belt wrap. But it lines up pretty good, so I think it'll work. That electric one was taking too long. Keep having to unplug it and plug it back in and then charge it. That one sucks, don't get that. So I just use this one that you plug in the wall, and it's got a really thin stone, so it cuts a pretty straight line. I can go into the blue a little bit, but definitely don't want to go on the other side of that blue line. And I'm about halfway through. Also, if you want to do it, this one is like a 1/4 of an inch thick. This one is like 1/2 inch, so I'll probably get another 1/4 inch plate and then cut that one out again later on. Just because it is pretty beefy. It's a little overkill. Alright, just got the plate cut up. It's a pretty good fit. Back half got scratched. Oh well, I could always sand it down, but I really don't care. It's not gonna do anything. But it fits on there almost perfect. I could probably sand down a little bit more, but I'll definitely want to do that by hand so I don't take too much off. Got enough room to get my injectors in there, and now I'm gonna put the supercharger on top. Alright, I just drilled the holes in the plate using a 15/64 drill bit. Alright, it's a kind of a crappy job, but I ported my heads. So I'm gonna port these as well, just so I can get a little bit more air, but you don't have to do that. But I'm gonna probably leave this top cathedral alone and cut some of this off at the bottom. That seems to be a little bit ported too. And I might take it down a little more at this bottom here. Bring that down. I don't know yet. I don't know about this one, but I'm definitely going to port the adapter. So these 2 red dots, there's 2 in the front and then there's 2 in the back. But those don't go all the way through. These go all the way through. So that will get seated all the way down, but this one does not. So you're going to have to mark it and drill a hole on the other side just so you could have that plate clamped, instead of it being just held down on the sides. You're going to get it held down all around, 2 up top and then 2 in the back. Alright, got it almost there. Definitely going to have to cut this extra off so I could get the injectors and fuel rail in without any clearance issues. Definitely going to have to trim this back a little bit. Supercharger was sitting like 2 inches forward, so I'm gonna cut this back. But first, I'm gonna make sure I move this cable so I can still pop my hood, because that would suck if I cut that on accident. Alright, got the adapter plate, lower intake manifold, intercooler sandwiched up in there. It's hard to see the lower supercharger plate and the supercharger on there. Gotta cut this excess off so I can fit it in there, and I did have to cut this out a little bit, but it's almost lined up. So next I gotta move this power steering, get the fuel rails and injectors in there, and add that add that new fuel pump and get a new belt. Still waiting on the throttle body to get made. My uncle taking too long, so I might make one, but we'll see what happens. Definitely gonna have to get a little bit bigger hood. Yeah, because this thing is poking. But hopefully she's a screamer, because that's why I'm putting it on here. And I guess we'll see what happens next time.